Melissa Payne, Chairman.
Present.
Ian Featherstone, Vice Chairman.
Present.
George D. Gwiz, Secretary, President. Chuck Worley.
Present.
John F. Claffey Jr.
Present.
Jason Becker.
Present.
Peter Stump.
Present.
Peter Singer, alternate. Roll call has been taken, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Peter Singer's absent. Bob Singer is here.
Okay, everyone's here. We'll stand for the pledge.
It's over here. It's over here.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I get a motion to approve the minutes of October 26th?
I make a motion that we approve of the minutes of October 26th. I have a copy there.
I'll second.
Okay, are there any comments or discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Does any board member wish to make a comment?
I'd like to just toss out a couple of dates that was in the, that's gonna affect, I think, WPCA the next couple of years. I'm not gonna read the whole article, but it has to do with the walls coming down and the new 186 apartments being built. I'm just gonna read primarily the dates, not the article. By the end of this week, large earth-moving backhoes will mobilize 7 North Main Street and begin demolishing the former Knights Motel. And they plan to continue through the winter months, weather permitting. Concrete pouring of building foundation could begin as early as March 2016. And therefore, marketing of the new apartments could begin by the summer 2016. I just wanted to mention the dates, because something I think we're probably gonna have to look at in the next couple of years because of the schedule that they've come out with on this project. So I just want to pass that on. Thank you.
Anyone else have a comment to make? Yes, John?
And I just want to, the rumor mill is working. Over at the beach. I heard there's a rumor that they're going to build a tunnel to get the wastewater from Plum Bank to Saybrook Manor. But that's what they're talking about in our neck of the woods, a tunnel.
The big dig, huh?
Yeah, a big dig. So people are out there talking about this.
Yeah, a pipeline is a tank.
Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to staff reports, starting with financial.
Yeah, we have one non-construction invoice from Waterview Landscaping for lawn restoration at 2 properties for a total of $4,500.
May I have a motion to pay the Waterview landscaping invoices?
I'll make a motion that we pay Waterview Landscape instead of $4,500 for the landscaping at the 2 described addresses.
I shall second that, sir.
Any comments from the board?
Just a question, I don't know if anyone here can answer, is why this was necessary for these 2 properties?
Okay, both these properties are in phase 1. And as you know, phase 1 has closed. The one on Old Colony we'd been trying to make corrections to it. It was an instance where the soil that was brought onto the property was inferior. And so basically, a time went by and it did not get corrected. And it was decided that it needed, obviously needed to be done. It's being paid out of the 210 account. And it was, the decision was made to employ a local landscaping company to do the work.
So
The
homeowners-
the original installer was not available.
Yeah, and I can kind of figure out who it is. So there's no impact on the homeowner for this?
No,
And these
none
funds-
whatsoever on either of these homeowners.
And are these amounts are not eligible for clean water funding or not?
No. These are being paid out of the grant money that we receive. So, because this is phase 1 property.
Okay. So it's, time has gone by, we can't do anything about it.
No.
So there are no bonds available?
No, unfortunately, the decision was made to pay the retainage to the individual contractors, and their bonds, upon that happening, their bonds were closed.
Anything else? All those in favor of paying this invoice, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
And I apologize for the lateness of getting the construction invoices to you. Needless to say, Mr. Rummel has been busy. But we can pass these around. I did email them out to you, but you did not have a chance to look at them. They are for 8 properties in Maple Avenue North 1 in the amount of $60,800.
May I have a motion, please?
We have a motion to pay the bill totaling $60,800 from JTR LLC for 8 homes.
Second.
Any discussion, comments? on the board?
Those are all, everything's, your summary was good, didn't see anything out of the ordinary, right?
Yeah, there is nothing extraordinary about this group of properties.
Right.
So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
That's all I have for this evening.
It is.
Yes.
Why do we have all
Do you
these
want-
papers?
You don't remember oh,
Why do we have all
yeah,
these
we jumped
papers?
right into the invoices. I'm sorry. We do have the operating budget report for October, thank you, Ian. There's nothing extraordinary about that either. However, if you have any questions.
I made a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion to accept the operating budget for the month of October, dated November 6, 2015.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments from the board? You all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
And you also have the Clean Water Fund requisition summary report through, this is mine. to requisition 7. So through the end of September.
Does anyone have any questions for Grace on this? Okay,
Now I'm done.
thank you very much.
Sorry.
Coordinator, okay?
Stephen's not feeling quite up to par, so I had his report to him,
Okay.
there's an overlap, and then you have Boston on the, that just came in at the 5 o'clock or something. All right, so the Maple Avenue North 2 bid came in on Tuesday. Low bid was $352,040, and that's with the engineer. So I guess we'll hear that on the road.
How many properties? How many
25.
properties? 25?
Yeah, so it's, they average about 14,000.
Who, do you have the bidders? Who are the bidders?
JTR and Engineered Septic. There's a $40,000 difference between the two.
Who had the lowest?
What was that?
Who had the lowest?
Oh, JTR.
JTR, okay.
We're going out to bid Thursday with Maple Avenue North 3. So that ad's been sent to the company. Let's see, so that pre-bid is on December 1st, and bid opening is December 15th. And the next two will follow the ones that are 4 and 5. We're setting up reviews with Brad to go over Plum Bank and Greyhound Beach. We're sitting down with Scott Martinson over the designation. And we're supposed to be starting voluntary soil tests for Saybrook Manor pretty soon. We're getting the soil test scheduled from Jim Minoli. This I thought was interesting. This is just, I get emails from the Soundkeeper, and I'll just pass it so you can look at it, but apparently the Long Island Soundkeeper is suing 11 New York towns for polluting the sound. So they're being sued, 11 Westchester municipalities, over violations of the Clean Water Act. Thought you found that interesting. Okay, we attended COPCA last Friday, me, George, Stephen, and Peter. And the most interesting thing was the Cape Cod Commission, where they are right now. And I sent you a bunch of links, which they're beautiful websites, and then you have that application you can play around with. But basically, if you remember a few years ago, they were talking about sewering the whole Cape to the tune of $6 billion. Now with this new approach, it looks more like $2 to $3.8 billion. So I could send you more information. We have a lot to cover, so it wasn't kind of. But basically, they evaluated 60 technologies, traditional and non-traditional. So they're looking at, mixing the sewers with PRBs. They looked at oysters. Oysters can clean 50 gallons per day. So they're thinking of having oyster beds. Floating constructed wetlands. It's really cool stuff. So if you look at the links, it's fun. And we'll follow up with them. But that was the director of the Cape Cod Commission that gave the report. And so it'd be kind of neat to see what's going on in Mass. I think that's my stuff. I'm going to give you Stephen's stuff. Okay, so Stephen says work continues, as you saw with the invoices, Maple Avenue North 1. We talked about the bids, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so the storm drains were discovered in Saybrook Manor. They need to be identified, and we're going to cover that on the agenda. We'll just hand it out and talk about it next time. Kurt will probably have more information on us.
So when did they discover the storm drains?
I don't know if Fuss O'Neill discovered them, or if we discovered, or maybe, when we were digging, or the residents know that they're there. I mean, they go through their yards. We need to know where these things are. So that's why Fuss O'Neill's proposing.
Is there an outlet that anyone knows about, or they just?
Yeah, there's outlets.
Structures in the ground?
Yeah, there's big structures in the ground, but maybe when we hand this out, you'll have more information.
Well, I have what you sent.
Did we, oh, we did, okay, did you, well, I
Well, I
have copies
don't
of
know,
it.
I printed it out when you sent it.
You're saying there are storm drains on people's property?
Yeah, they're along the property line, separates backyards. So it's gonna be hard for, their equipment to get into it, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's more of an access issue than a siting issue.
They need to, yeah.
Usually, because the pipes are old and weary and break easily. So when you take your backhoes and other big pieces of equipment to do the excavation for the septic, they wind up damaging they can damage the storm.
Are they shallow?
Maybe, who knows? That's part of the question.
Yeah,
I think it's
So-
under the faucet.
It just, like the one in my little cul-de-sac is not.
Oh.
It is quite shallow. Now, it happens to be a PVC pipe, which is great right now. I don't know what it'll be like in 20 years. We'll see.
It's on the
So
agenda,
this
we'll,
is agenda item
yeah.
Oh,
we'll-
is
we'll-
it?
9B.
Yeah, I'll pass
Oh,
them out
okay.
again,
All
but
right, then we will-
basically that's what he's up to, and, let's see. He's working with, Wright Pierce on the community system and program planning, and that's the amendment 1 we have to look at. Revising our charts to account for all the properties. Melissa's been working on that with Jim Benoli.
What charts?
All the charts to track all the properties, everything that's been done in phase 1, anything that's outstanding. So amendment 1 has got pre-approval by DEEP. That's on the agenda. And Wright Pierce is supposed to be meeting with DEEP this week to go over the system design assumptions. We attended a seasonal meeting in Westbrook. We were invited to a seasonal property meeting. That was neat. You had all the health directors and so on there. He gave a presentation at Kopka, him and Wright Pierce. That was neat. So an update on our program. And then Mike Giggy from Wright Pierce talked about community systems. And he's been meeting with the school officials on testing. They're supposed to be doing the drilling at the high school now. I think that's going on. And then we have another property that we're testing too. And then resident issues. He's been working with residents. I think that's it for Stephen.
Any questions or comments? Next item is the amendment to the Wright Pierce agreement. Anyone care to make a motion to approve? Approve the wording, this amendment, of amending the agreement between Old Saybrook and Wright Pierce for services.
I'll attempt that. Make a motion that we accept Amendment 1 to alter the agreement between Town of Old Saybrook and Wright Pierce for the purpose of exploring further the community wastewater system, consistent with the payment as described in Section 2.
Second.
Is that good enough?
Oh, yeah.
Version dated November 5th.
Thank you.
And who was authorized as the client to sign this? Would this be the first selectman, or is it the chairman, or?
Elsa signs it usually, doesn't she? She signs a Bussin' O'Neill.
Who signed the original?
Do you have a copy of it?
While that's being investigated, I'd like to ask, on Section 2, there is authorized additional services, but reading through the text, I don't find anything titled additional services. What were the additional services that we authorized? I know that we
Oh,
Was that the
part of
additional parcel?
original?
Is that the additional parcel? The third
Doesn't say what it
location,
was.
site 33?
Other questions? No place in here?
I may have overlooked it. I didn't see it.
What are you asking? I don't understand what you're asking.
On section 3, which is at the last page, page 4, there's a description of the fees. The middle one is authorized additional services. Find the last page. Under section 2, the compensation. So there's a description in the second one listed is authorized additional services. I guess, I'm assuming that is the third parcel, but I don't see that labeled anywhere as the additional service.
We have an approval from Deep. I don't know if you want me to,
But no,
they might list what it is.
Is it important to know that? I guess it's important enough for me to ask the question, so I guess that's
No, but
what
I
it
could
is.
look it up. You know the additional services in here? Do you think that would be in the Deep's approval? The $6,000 for additional services? Peter wants to know if you see,
I have the, okay,
because I have the Deep approval. So.
I have the deep approval right with me.
So it's the $6,000, and Peter thinks maybe it's the third property.
Tucked it in here, where'd it go? No, I don't have it with me. I thought I did.
I should,
Okay, the original agreement had 3 signatures. The client was the WPCA, and Elsa signed it. And then beneath her was a, for the town of Old Saybrook, and Carl signed it.
Okay, well, the board would authorize the chairman to sign it.
Right. So do I need to, do I?
You should modify your-
I modify my, my motion to include signing of the agreement by the chairman.
And today.
And for the amendment dated November 5th, 2015.
I'll second that again.
It's my understanding that this amendment has been reviewed by Christine Shipman and Goodwin. So there may be, the fact that it's only asking for 2 signatories, it may be because it's an amendment to, it's not the original. That's all I can think of. What is the $6,000? The authorized services?
This one.
I believe that, I remember the front of the approval from Deep.
Does anyone know what SHWT means?
Seasonal high water table. I don't know what SOJ stands for, I looked that one
Oh,
too.
that one I know.
I was looking for that one. Couldn't figure it out at first. Stick it in the judgment.
Is anyone confused about their use of advanced treatment? Systems?
What's section I?
Well, they're gonna be comparing the community Advanced treatment is already been
Are
studied.
they talking about individual advanced treatment? Because, you know, from what I'm told, I mean, it's possible that a community system can also be advanced treatment.
Well, they're,
If they're
for the community
nitrogen-
system, they're calling for nitrogen reduction.
Right.
So that is enhanced treatment. I don't know that I've heard of community, have you heard of?
Not usually, no.
No.
Well, but advanced treatment I think is a term with respect to on-site individual.
on-site.
Right.
Individual.
Yes,
Okay,
Individual
all right, all
systems.
yes. So I think they're comparing what we've done before with what we're considering.
Right.
That's how I read that paragraph,
Yeah.
is that they would develop a opinion cost for a community system, including transport, treatment, et cetera, and then compare that to conventional plus AT, to put together a whole comparison, and they would take the data for conventional from us and our existing experience, and then we get the cost opinion from a deep.
And I think maintenance, comparison of maintenance cost too, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, capital and operating costs.
Got a calculator there.
We have Deep's approval on it. I don't know if that helps.
I suspect it's their language manipulation that has caused my question. That's my guesstimate.
So Dean doesn't say anything about that amount?
I don't
Not-
see
not
it in
that
the
exact
description,
amount.
other than it says on page 2, or page 1, excuse me, that they're adding site 33, which I believe, I think that accounts for the additional services.
North of Downley property, isn't that a railroad?
But that's speculation on my part, I have to admit. And I'm not sure that's pertinent either.
No, it doesn't.
This has been, the amendment has been approved by Deep?
It actually was already approved by Deep, yeah.
I
And I think
know
they're the ones who
the funding
fought.
amount has been, but the language
Oh,
also?
the amendment was, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, so,
But I don't know if it was Christine who caught it or Deep and added the, $6,000. One of them caught it and we had to go back and put it in there.
okay.
Yeah, I mean Christine Chipman from our attorney.
Anyone
Yeah,
else?
it looks to me like, the previous approved cost of $138,350 would be the sections 1A through 1D, plus the authorized additional services. Those are, putting these two together, they appear to be related to what we've already approved. And the cost we're talking about for this amendment is the $119,000 ballpark, and they listed as $118,987, so that's what it seems like. Because we add, did we authorize additional services or Ray Pierce? I believe we did, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the first day I have seen either the approval or the amendment. So I am not in a position to answer.
So are we jumping into this too soon?
No, I just can't. You would expect me to have the answers for you, and I do not.
Well, the other thing, section 1A through D are not a part of this. Starts at E, so it's got to be the first, what was the total amount of the first contract?
Well, the total amount of the first contract is $131,642. And the question that I have is, we haven't spent all that money, and did Deep is that which has not been spent somewhere in here?
So, what we're looking for here is 1E through L for a total of 119 kills is what it looks like.
But I believe aren't we also approving the additional services?
I believe we've already done that.
We've already done that, okay. I'm sorry, now I understand your comment, okay.
I'm trying to remember it, but
Right,
based
okay.
on the letter from the DEP,
Right,
where
okay.
they list the amount of previously approved cost totaling $138,350. That is the
Yes,
sum
okay,
of those two.
yes. Thank you, I apologize. You said that and
No, I think.
it didn't register, so my apologies.
I think that's what it is.
Okay, all right, then let me withdraw my question, please.
So basically, it's the next step,
Yeah,
the hydraulics and the planning of the community systems.
I have a question on page 3. It's part of section G, just after 5. It talks about 3 conceptual sewer layouts, assuming flows of 200, 300, and 400,000. Do we know where that came from?
Well, the flows came from the water, we have the water usage data, and then you also have public health code where 3 bedrooms a day, so if the houses have these many bedrooms, 150 gallons a day. I think they're still trying to work it out because you still have seasonal properties.
Right, but
So, but you do have your water usage for
They
the
picked
last,
total numbers of 200, 300, and 400. That must represent something.
yeah, well, it's so many houses.
So many houses.
Yes.
Represented a number of houses based on those water usage figures, because they didn't
Ah.
quite line up with.
Range, okay.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the typical number of
Yep.
flows per day.
Okay.
and
Again, going by memory.
the eventual design on the 2 properties are including the possible third, the more disposal we have, the broader the system and the more properties that can be served.
Yeah, it was something like 585 houses, if I'm remembering.
Yeah.
And the flow rates
Right.
varied.
Mhm.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, so I believe that was right.
You want to see this approval letter, or should I give this back to Riley?
Is there any further comments? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Is there any old business? New business, Eden Harbor request?
The attorneys are still going back and forth on that a little bit. So Attorney Shipman, that's representing Eden Harbor, has been asking questions. He thought we had $90,000 in the account, we only have like $52,000 in the account. And then John read the agreement, and, you know, as he's thinking the same thing that Chuck and everybody else is thinking. It says nothing about permitting. And they're looking at then they looked at old minutes from when we voted on it, November 2005, what the intention was. Basically, I think John is hoping that maybe they'll take everything into consideration and just withdraw their request. They'll realize that it's not permitting, that they haven't been giving us their annual reports. They're supposed to hire an engineer to look at the system every year and give us a report. We haven't been getting that. So right now, I guess we're just hoping that maybe they'll just withdraw their request. In the meantime, we're looking for an annual report from them, and they have to do their permitting, and that's been pushed to March. But on a positive note, the new president came in and sat down and talked with us, and she said she's learning about it, she wants to do everything correctly, and so it looks like we're gonna have a better rapport with her than we may have had in the past. So we'll let you know what happens, next time.
So this is on hold.
Yeah, if he doesn't withdraw it, then maybe, we'll have something next time. John will make a recommendation, and then we'll ask you, to vote on the decision.
Professional services to identify storm drains.
Yep, did you want a hard copy of that?
Yeah.
So apparently we sent this to you already. Okay, I'll just.
Checks your time.
Okay, so I guess we're waiting for more information from Kurt on that, so at least if you have a copy, if you have any questions, you can ask us next time.
Is this all business?
That's all done.
That's all.
We voted to approve it, yes, so that's just a
Okay,
copy.
okay, that's fine. That's what I thought. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, so you can look at it and, yeah, I think,
We got 1 minute.
Well, there's some words in that one that was absolutely. What is that?
All right, any comments or comments?
Well, I guess a basic question on the storm drains, are these town storm drains? In other words, are they, basically from the street going through people's properties?
no, I'm not completely sure what they are. You know, I don't know if they're the beach areas or the town or what, but we can find out.
And there are no records?
No, so we have the same problem someplace else. I think in Maple Ave in the north has got these big things.
Kind of like old septic system records?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Good practice is to align them with lot lines, or there should be rights of way granted in the deed and development documents, which should be available, but require work to find.
So those could go back quite a ways.
So how old is that community?
Old.
Very old, okay. I'm newbie, sorry, don't know. So, But I say good practice because people do what's expedient many times also.
Which is probably what happened.
What they did, yes. They had water in their yards and they drained it out. And I'll bet you the association or the group of neighbors got together and did it.
I think the magnitude of the cost of identifying these for what they're proposing would be probably cheaper to do that than it would be to try and dig up records.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I concur, I concur.
But you gotta wonder about what the materials are for, the drain line. And you stick a probe down
One of
there,
the question is, where do they go?
you could lose whatever's in there.
But typically what is, if the contractor knows that there's such a structure exists, they just put a mat on the ground, so they drive over the mat, which distributes the load more evenly, so they don't damage anything. That's their typical response. They don't do anything to as long as they know that there is a subsurface feature that they're trying to protect.
Right, but didn't they talk about putting a probe in?
Well, they may, but
If they can't get the GPR,
right.
over the brushy areas and things like that.
Right. Yeah, and if it's that kind of overgrown area, they're probably not going there anyway.
PVC.
Yeah, but
Depends how old.
this is put in 50 years
Before the
ago.
invention of PVC, I think
Oh, okay.
it's safe.
Yeah, it should be 100.
Oh, yeah, it could be. I mean, if you
Yeah, quite.
go back to when these beach communities were founded, people came down in tents and, oh, well, this is nice, I'm gonna maybe do a little bit more of a structure, and things developed over time.
I'm sure they
Could
were
have
draining
developed
off
100 years
surface
ago.
water. They were, very logical,
They're practical usually.
practical, logical. Get rid of the water, trade it into the ocean.
Okay, next meeting.
Okay. open it up for public.
I think these ladies have a question, because they came here for Eden Harbor, and they couldn't hear anything that transpired with what Robbie was saying, and you don't want to interrupt your meeting, but what's happening in Eden Harbor would be the question.
Basically, it's in the attorney's hands right now. They're just,
We can't hear you.
Attorney Shipman, Eden Harbor's attorney, is working with our attorney, John Werdum. And so there's just questions going back and forth right now. About, Eden Harbor requested $18,000 to permit the system, and right now our attorney reviewed the maintenance agreement. Doesn't really say anything about permitting there. It's to repair the system. So I think we're waiting to see what Attorney Shipman says.
So do you have
And
any
then-
idea when that's gonna happen?
Well, our attorney's waiting for him to come back with a response. If he doesn't, probably our attorney will just advise the board, and the board will vote.
Okay, thank you.
I have just one comment, and I didn't have any until I came in. You had two properties that were in phase one, that you redid the lawns for $4,500. You opened up Pandora's box because there were a lot of people that were concerned about their lawns, their driveways, and everything else that couldn't be taken care of. And now you open a 210 account and you take care of those two properties. So I'm concerned about what were those two properties and why didn't we take care of those two and not somebody like Marcy that was complaining forever and ever. I just want to make it clear that if you're opening up that account, 210 account, do those. Maybe you should look at the other people that complained.
Was not my decision.
I know.
I
I'm not blaming
don't
you
know
for the
thing-
decision.
no,
I'm saying
no,
the decision
I
that
don't know
was
the
made.
thinking behind it.
The decision was made after we closed everything out. People had no other right to say, and you had found two properties that you had to go out and fix for $4,500. And I can give you a list of people that complained before they were closed out and couldn't get them fixed, and didn't get them fixed, and now you have to open up a 210 account. So whoever made that decision, I have a question why it was made and who it was made for. I don't know whose properties they were. I really don't want to know. But I think that's a concern for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Moving on, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn our meeting at 8:12 p.m.
Thank you.
Second.
You're back on.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.